Hey guys, it's Ryan Bridge, BugMan, and I'm coming to you from BugMan headquarters. And look, man, I just want to talk to you today about tarantulas. I want to talk to you about pet tarantulas. I get to go out and do programs all the time. And when I go out and do programs for schools and libraries and churches and such, I actually take tarantulas and scorpions and cockroaches and fun things live, and I allow the audience to touch, pet, and hold these things. And I get a lot of questions about what are the good tarantulas, and why in the world would somebody ever want to hold one of these things. Tarantulas are the coolest. Tarantulas are also totally, completely harmless. All right? That's something people need to understand. All right? There's no deadly tarantulas anywhere on the planet. They're just not hardwired to kill people like that. There are tarantulas that can bite you, and there are tarantulas that generally don't want to bite you. And if you use the right ones, if you educate yourself a little bit to the good ones from the not so good ones, you can get by on handling tarantulas with no problems at all. This is Penelope. Penelope is a rose-haired tarantula. Penelope is a Chilean Rose Hair Tarantula. So this is not a native tarantula to the United States. Just a simple, typical tarantula. And you notice she's not biting. Now, all tarantulas are venomous. All tarantulas have fangs. And they have fangs and they have venom because they have to eat, not for biting people. You notice she's not interested in biting me. She's not trying to. All she wants to do is get warm. So handling tarantulas is super easy because all you have to do is put your hands out, keep your hands nice and flat, and the tarantula will generally lay down and hug your hand to try and get warm. That's all she really wants to do. She's just trying to get warm. Awesome, awesome creatures. They make good pets too. Look, if you're looking for a pet tarantula, you want to settle for something like a rose hair, maybe a curly hair, something that's the new world terrestrials. You don't want something that's going to be climbing up trees and such. You want something that's going to stay to the ground. You also want to be able to keep it simple. There are some tarantulas that require pretty extensive setups, and you got to put all kinds of junk in there with them. I like to keep things simple. I like to keep some substrate in there. I like to keep maybe obviously a water dish, but maybe something to give them to hide in. But a lot of times my tarantulas don't even use little hiding spaces. They'll lay right out in the middle of the enclosures. Tarantulas will also make a carpet, and what they like to do, they'll actually, instead of making a suspension web, they'll make a blanket, if you will, a carpet of silk, and they'll lay in the middle of that. You also got to make sure you give them some room, because when they molt, they tend to take a lot of space. They'll make kind of a bowl, and then they'll lay in that bowl, and that takes up a lot of space. As a sling, as a small tarantulas, baby spiders, if you will, they don't require a lot. They do like to burrow a lot of times. So if you're going to start out with small tarantulas, you want to make sure you educate yourself on what the small tarantulas require versus the big ones. Because again, these large, mature tarantulas are going to live a long time. Female tarantulas, especially Chilean rose hairs, can live to be 35 years old. All right, man, we're talking something as long as a horse. That's pretty cool. Penelope right here, she is 21 years old. So she's still got some life left in her, and she's still got some growing to do. She's not full size yet. She'll grow some more. Hopefully she'll molt a bunch more times too in that period of time. But 35 years is a commitment, man. Even a male tarantula, if you get him as a sling, the small, the size of a nickel or a quarter, those things are going to live for 7 or 8 years. So you want to make sure that you're prepared to invest that kind of time. This is not a short-term pet. This is not a guinea pig. These things are going to live a while. And even though they don't necessarily have the personality and the affection that a lot of these dogs, cats, and guinea pigs are going to give to you, they still have their own personality as a spider or as a bug, as a creature. So sometimes they're just going to want to sit and chill. Sometimes they're going to get a little antsy. It all depends on, if you have soap or smells on your hands, that can make a big difference about how they're going to handle as well. So keep those things in mind. And don't be afraid of tarantulas. And again, if you're looking for pet tarantulas, you want to stick to something that is the rose hair or the curly hair. Avoid looking at some of these new world. Screw that up. Avoid looking at some of the old world African species. These things are going to run like lightning. They're going to usually be really, really aggressive. They'll do defensive stands and flare their fangs and crazy stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're looking at something that's a little more, laid back and easy going. And the rose hair tarantulas, those are the way to go, man. Those are the spiders. That's what I use for programs. And I'm not kidding you, man. Probably hundreds of thousands of people have held my spiders over the years, and I've never had a problem yet. So they're not out there hurting anybody. Don't be afraid of them. They do have urticating hairs. All the tarantulas have the urticating hairs. Some species are worse than others. The rose hairs, again, are probably the best of the best for that. I have less problem with her than I do other tarantula species. I can't use a lot of other species because they just make people's hands itch. Putting a spider in your hands, if you're really, really sensitive to that, they can actually make your hands itch. Okay? So I just want to make sure, touch base with you guys and let you know that tarantulas are good, tarantulas are very cool, and most of all, they're very safe. I highly recommend that if you're looking for a cool, unique pet tarantulas are the way to go. All right, guys, look, we're all done. I just wanted to push that out there to you. It answers a lot of questions. I get people coming at me all the time. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me, on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell if you feel like it. Let me know you like what you see. Guys, I'm Ryan Bridge of BugMan. Have a great day. We'll see you.